I have been trying to make this video since April when I turned 60. I said, oh, I'm going to give some advice of aging gracefully and how I hope to do that. I mean, I just think back to when I was in my 20s and 60 sounded so old. And I thought, I'm never going to get to be 60. I'm never going to get that old. You know, when you're young, you just don't have any idea that that's actually going to get here more quickly than it does. And so, I look back at my grandmothers and I imagine them at 60. And then I think of myself, and I'm nothing like my grandmothers. My grandmothers were really the stereotypical grandmothers with, the permed hair and practical shoes and living a life that was pretty much dictated by their schedule when they ate, when they did certain things. They just weren't the fly by the seat of the pants kind of people, like I kind of tend to be, and the people I hang out with tend to be. So my 60 looks very different than my grandparents' 60 did, and even my mom. I mean, if I look back at what my mother was doing at my age, she was leading a pretty boring, sedentary life. She wasn't into the adventure. And I wonder how they could have been like so content and happy with that. And, maybe they weren't born with that same kind of spirit that I have of always wanting to be out there trying something new or learning something new. And, I just have all these plans. So, I can't get caught up in the fact that I'm 60. I have to keep doing things that are going to propel me in the direction of my dreams and my goals and my hopes. And I don't ever want to lose that, even when I'm 70 or 80. And so I hope I'm going to give a few practical tips on what it's like to age and how I'm trying to do that in the best way possible. Because let's face it, you're not going to escape the getting old part. So, sometimes even when I go to Walmart, I think it's funny, I'll kind of look around and I'll try to gauge who's my age and what do they look like and, how am I measuring up? And, there's a lot of people who are 60 that still look like my grandparents. But then there's the other side of the spectrum, and I'm kind of surprised sometimes that, there's a lot of tattoos and piercings and some craziness of people who are going the complete opposite of they're in denial that they're getting older. So I'm trying to land somewhere in the middle here. So let me see. I've tried to write some notes and I'm really terrible at this. So here's my advice is don't stop dreaming. When you have something to look forward to, it just energizes you. And I think it keeps you young. Over the last few years, I've done more than I've probably done in almost my whole life as far as I always dreamed that I wanted to take a trip out west. Well, I've done that in the last couple of years. I wanted to go to Europe. I did that. I thought I had, this one more renovation in me. I've just gotten done renovating a house. I started a new business. I wrote 2 books. So I've had dreams that I kind of put on the shelf because I was so busy investing in my husband's dreams and my children's dreams. And, that was good. And I was glad to do that. But then, in the last few years, I've gotten to the point of saying, okay, what dreams did I set aside that now I can actually invest in? And those were some of them. And travel, writing, the creative things. Some of them, I've had to let go. I went and watched my grandson jump out of an airplane last week. That was always a dream of mine. It's no longer a dream of mine. I don't have any plans to jump out of an airplane, and I'm not really regretting that decision. If I was 18 and I had had the opportunity, I so would have done it. And so I'm so proud of Ross for doing it, and I'm glad that he did it, but that's no longer one of my dreams. So when we went through, really deep grief a few years ago, the thing that got me through was to continue to put distractions from the grief in my life. And I think aging, it's the same thing. Whatever that is that's going to distract you from, you don't want to focus. It is the reality, but you don't want to be so focused on the fact that you're getting older that you stop doing fun things. So, right after the accident, we found the cabin. And that became a great distraction. It didn't mean that we stopped grieving. It just meant that it gave us a break from the grief process. And so as we age, we're facing, it seems every single day I hear about tragedy, and it can get you so caught up that you cannot even, you can give up wanting to live. You can't even hardly function with all the sadness that's in the world. And so you have to keep a distraction in your life. And so for me, that was, planning the next trip, writing the next book, learning the skills I needed to publish that book. You always have to have some kind of dream, some kind of goal to keep you distracted and to keep you focused on not just sitting around and doing the woe is me that, a lot of people get into the rut of. So the next thing is don't stop learning. I feel like if you don't have 5 books on your list of what you want to get to, then you've already given up on living. You have to want to, continue to learn about something. I was going to write down the books on my nightstand. I don't even know if I could remember them now, but some of them have to do with the fact that I've started a new business. So they're ones to encourage me in my business. My new business happens to be essential oils. So I have aromatherapy books on my stand, and I have, essential oil handbooks and all the things that I would need to do to understand my business better. And, then last night I was reading an article on something, and there was about raising kids in the wild, not like out in the wilderness or anything, but just letting them be outside more. My children are grown, but that's still so fascinating to me, and I wish that more people knew about it. So I put that book in my cart at Amazon because I'm like, I want to read that person. It was like someone from another country. I think she was in Sweden, and she moved here. And it's normal in Sweden to let your baby sleep outside when it's chilly and to be outside in all kinds of weather. And she moved to America, and she got turned into the authorities like, it was abuse. And she's like, that's ridiculous. And so it's her journey of, and I don't even think the book's out yet. But I'm very, very excited to read that. So I feel like you always have to keep learning, whatever it is, whatever interests you, even if it was something from your youth that you thought, oh, I'd love to know that, photography, whatever. Get a book on it. Get on the internet. Take a class. Just keep learning. Keep your mind fresh. I do a little game. I'm not a computer game person, but I do little things called like 10-10. And it's a little game on my iPad, and people think it's crazy, but I feel like the strategy of that game keeps my mind sharp. I don't want to be like stuck in the memory loss. It may be my lot in life, but I'm doing what I can. I totally believe in being proactive and not reactive. If I know these things can help me as I get older, I want to be doing them now. I don't want to wait till I'm 70 and all of a sudden I've lost my mind and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do a crossword puzzle anymore. I want to just keep exercising my mind. Then it's like, don't stop taking care of yourself. And that can happen many ways. Many of you will probably get on me because I'm really exercise resistant. I'm terrible about that. And the thing I'm going to really try better with is just getting outside and walking more. When we were in Europe, Tessa and I averaged 8 miles a day. One day we walked 11 miles. When you go to foreign countries, you realize they don't rely on cars like we do. They just walk everywhere. It's just part of their schedule, their routine. They don't even think about, well, I can leave with 2 minutes to spare. No, they leave because they know they're going to walk 3 or 4 blocks to public transportation. And then when they get off, they're going to walk maybe 3 or 4 more blocks. And then they're going to buy their groceries and they're going to carry them home and they're going to walk. And we stayed in buildings, didn't even have elevators. You had to lug your suitcase up all these stairs. I thought, yeah, that would never fly in America because Americans are used to having everything, for their comfort and their ease and their schedules. And so I swore when I moved into this house, I was going to start walking to the grocery store and whatever. I've been busy and I haven't. And then my incident yesterday, if y'all read my other, or 2 days ago, Facebook page post of taking a dog for a walk and being attacked by a neighborhood dog, well, that sure put a little damper on my walk around the neighborhood every night, So I'm going to have to do better with that. But on the other hand, one of the things I've done, and people will be like, what on earth does that mean? Was I did get into essential oils. And the main reason I did is because somebody put a little bug in my head that can really help with your mood and depression and hormones. And, and I thought, I don't know, but I like to learn new things. So what did I do? I said, okay, I'll try it. And the kit cost $160. And I'm thinking, well, that's a lot of money. But then I went back to my favorite movie is You've Got Mail. And there's a scene in there when Joe Fox, Fox, is in the bookstore with Kathleen Kelly and the guy that works there, George. He asks Joe Fox to help him with these used books, and Joe Fox picks up this antique book and he's looking at it, and George says it's so valuable because the illustrations are like hand colored. And so Joe Fox says, "Is that why it costs so much?" And George goes, "No, that's why it's worth so much." And that's got to be our mindset. Some of these natural things out there, we immediately say, "Oh, but it's so expensive." It's not that it's so expensive and it costs so much, but it's worth so much. So my initial investment when I did essential oils, it was, $160. And let's just say I added a few more things. Let's just round it off to a $200 investment. Yeah, that seemed like, oh my gosh, that costs a lot. But then out of that, I got so much, not just in, yes, it helped me with my my depression and my grief and my just my mood in general. It helped me with the hormones. It helped me with so many other things. But what it really helped me with is that it engaged my mind to learn more. And so what's that worth? Oh my goodness, I look at, how we blow $200. We blow $200 4 times you go out to eat. $200. I go to the grocery store and buy a bunch of junk that let's not say groceries because I guess we do need our groceries. But I'll go to bargain hunt. I'll spend $200. I mean, really, in the scope of things, those things don't have lasting value to me. But what I've gotten out of that one kit, that has had lasting value to me. And I wasn't even trying to do this, but in the process of learning more, it became a business for me. So now in my old age, I've started a business. That just seems bizarre to me. Who at 60 years old wants to start a business? But I do. I have a business going. So, just take care of yourself, whatever that means. For me, it involves doing things as naturally as possible. I am just so anti-modern medicine, maybe to a fault. If I went back and told you a story, I had a home birth. I've just done crazy things of taking care of myself because I just don't believe that modern medicine is looking out for my best interests. There's a time for it. My husband has a pacemaker. There's a time for modern medicine. And then there's a time for us to take our own our wellness into our own hands, whatever that looks like for you. Healthy eating, healthy cooking, learn something about that. Vitamins, supplements, whatever. I just continue to learn on that so that as I age, I'm going to live out my final years as healthy as I could possibly be. I am a firm believer that our days are numbered, and when you have someone in your family die young, you have to kind of believe that. You have to believe that God is totally in control of those days. And I feel like we're in control of the quality of our life, not the quantity of our life. And, if I'm going to die 3 years from now, 3 months from now, I want to die as healthy as I could be, if that makes any sense at all. So be proactive about taking care of yourself. And my other thing is to continue to live the story. I want to keep color in my life. I want to keep story in my life. I want to keep my grandchildren saying, "You can't believe what my grandmother did." I don't ever want to stop taking chances. A friend of mine recently on our business page, actually I kind of call her my boss. She's not my boss because we're all in the same business, but she wrote something and it said, marry the process, divorce the outcome. And what I loved about that is it's encouraging me to continue to take chances. It doesn't matter what the outcome. I'm going to write another book. I'm pretty sure I'm never going to be a famous author, but that's beside the point. I am going to marry the process because I enjoy the process, and I believe God is blessing that process. The outcome's not up to me. Nobody knows what the outcome is of anything they do. If we stop doing things because we don't know how it would turn out, we would do practically nothing. So I'm going to continue to dive into things, continue to learn, continue to build a business, write a book, learn. I've just downloaded a course not too long ago on some art that I want to try to do. I'm not good at watercolor, but you know what? I'm going to try it. Maybe if I produce one thing that I can hang on my wall, it's going to be worth it to me. I just want to continue to be willing to take a chance. I'm going to plan another trip to Europe because I love it. I'm going to continue to do things with my grandchildren until I can't do it anymore. I'm looking, oh, here's the statistic. Like Grandma Moses, she's a famous painter. She didn't even start her art career until she was 78. And then there's Grandma Gatewood, who hiked the Appalachian Trail in 1955. She was 67. Let aging encourage you. Don't give up on your dreams. Don't give up on hope. You know, find it wherever you can and age gracefully and be excited about it and count it a privilege. And, you know, we're in this together. If y'all want to chit chat with me and you want to get me involved in something, I'm probably your person. Let me know what the next exciting thing is out there. I'll be glad to jump on it with you. So that's my advice for aging, and I'd love to hear your perspective on it.